everybody. This is Sean B. Bradley, president of Dealer Synergy and the creator of the Millionaire Car Salesman Group, and we have an amazing show for you today. We got the executives at Coxs Automotive. I've got my friend Mark Vickery, who's the AVP of Performance Management, and I got Kevin Schmitt, who's the Senior Performance Manager of the Deal Central. Correct, guys? I got that right?
Sean, that's it.
Yes, sir. Hey, thanks for having us, Sean.
Absolutely. Well, listen, first of all, here's what we got. We got two senior executives from VinSolutions and Coxs Automotive. And I want to just first let everyone know that I'm excited to announce that Coxs Automotive is creating a one-day masterclass for VinSolution exclusive clients. So this is a VinSolutions event. It's going to be, I believe, on November 6th in Chicago at the Chicago Hilton Oakhurst. Is that correct, guys? Oak Brook. That's right. All right. So I want to just jump into it. So first of all, Kevin, for you, because I've talked to Mark a million times, explain to everybody just really quick what your title means. What do you do for VinSolutions?
Thank you for having us on, Sean. What I do for VinSolutions is basically core performance management. And core performance management is we all have these complex tools. How do you drive results in your store? How do you look at it and find ways to improve business? And I always joke and I say that, being a performance manager is being a director of a cruise ship. Okay, you got a lot of things going on. There's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot of moving parts, and everyone has different goals and agendas. And we have to try to find a way to listen to what the customer's saying and utilize our tool, our strengths, and our car knowledge. And how do you translate the software to action? And that's what my main role is right now is as a performance manager is how do I drive utilization and how do I make dealers understand this tool and apply it to their goals?
Strong. And Mark, in your role as AVP of Performance Management, you are running a team of Kevins and other high-level people. But I don't want to put words in your mouth, but just correct me if I'm wrong. Bottom line, performance management is there to enhance the utilization and the success of VinSolutions clients utilizing the VinSolutions CRM. Is that it?
Yeah, I mean, we consider it to be a core part of our value statement. Is that when you sign up for Coxs Automotive software, whether it's VinSolutions or vAuto or XTime or DealerTrack, you're getting a performance manager who's a former car person. Kevin's run car dealerships. And so we come in and frankly it means lots of things. Sometimes you're a motivator. I've got to motivate you to use the software better. Sometimes you're a coach. I've got to teach you how to do it. Sometimes you're a problem solver. This thing isn't working right. I got to help get it fixed so you can use it. It's all of those things, and oftentimes at the exact same time. So it's a big deal for us.
Well, I got to tell you, I am honored to be able to kind of co-produce this event. This is a Coxs Automotive event, but from my understanding, what you guys have done is something a little bit different. This is the first time that you've had an outside consultant or trainer work with you. I know that you had my friend Joe Webb, shout out to Joe Webb and Dealer Knows, do a webinar before, but you guys have now escalated it. You are taking this workshop concept to a whole nother level. Mark, can you tell us why you decided to partner with an outside person like us to help you create this? What was the logic of bringing me and my background?
Yeah, and I appreciate you recognizing Joe. He did a really nice job on that webinar, and we got a lot of value out of that. And really, that's what motivated this. Is I think that what happens sometimes, and we're all familiar with the TO process in the store, right? I mean, and what happens when the manager comes in and says literally exactly the same thing that the salesperson's been saying, and the customer, buys the car, right? So we're oftentimes the genius from out of town. We roll into a room full of general managers and we start telling them whatever it is we tell them, and they oh my God, they think you've created sliced bread. Well, that's the way this is. You're going to be our genius from out of town. You're going to come in and I've seen you in action before. I mean, you're going to talk about, best practices and things for dealers to focus on, and we just can't imagine a better way to get, look, you're as good as they come with CRM. You would agree that you got to use it to get value out of it, right?
Yes.
I think what's going to happen here is we're going to have you and Kevin each presenting content, and you're going to lead, a dealer panel that's going to have PMs and dealers on it, the actual users. We've just got a lot planned, and I'm just really excited to see this come together.
I wanted to say that you hit the nail on the head. I want to say this on my own show that sometimes it's frustrating because I have two daughters that are beasts in the industry. I got an F&I manager daughter at the RK Auto Group, which is a VinSolutions client, and I got Tiana T got your keys, who spent 3 years at Patriot Buick GMC, another Vin client, and I get the same thing you guys get with your dealers. I'm Sean Bradley of Dealer Synergy, but to my girls, I'm just the old dad, whatever, that doesn't
Yeah.
know anything. And so sometimes I've got to bring superstars and heavyweights. I'm talking about like Bradleys and the Grant Cardones and like major people. And they're saying the same exact thing I am to my own daughters. But for whatever reasons, when other people say the same thing I'm saying, my daughters think that it's like the most incredible information they've ever heard before.
Right
And
on.
I'm like, I've been telling you that since you were a kid. So I get it. So part of it is it's bringing an outside, third party, unbiased entity to the table to be able to give feedback. And even though you guys know ahead of the time that a lot of the stuff I'm going to say is part of the core principles and values and vision that Vin has, but it's just a different perspective. It's a different comprehension when it's come from somebody that's not, a Cox employee or Cox team member. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, I mean, look, I need to shut up and let Kevin talk, but it is a lot of times. What if I just said, "Are you completing your tasks? Are you responding to your leads? Are you confirming appointments? Are you keeping data clean?" Well, none of that is new. That's been something we've been talking about for a really, really long time. But I think the dealer needs to ask themselves, "Are you doing that? Are you inspecting that?" And I think what happens with events like this is we get really smart people like you and Kevin and our other dealers that are going to be at the event, to remind everybody, okay, let's go back to work and let's start doing the things that will. And I would suggest to you, it's never been more important than it is right now. It's a little harder to sell a car today than it was 18 months ago. Is that fair to say?
100%. 100%. So, Kev, slightly different question than when I asked Mark, but for you is tell us the vision of this one day. If you could give us like an outline, a synopsis, and just like why are we doing this event and what are we hoping that our VinSolutions clients are going to get out of it?
I'm going to kind of just touch a little bit on your first question to Mark and answer that second question. I mean, honestly, you've been in this industry, and one of the reasons why I feel that we made a good partnership isn't since the dawn of the internet sales lead, you've been very instrumental in our industry. So you've been doing this since the early 2000s with your programs and all that stuff. And you also bring value to these meetings as well, this workshop as well. What most people try to get out of this and what we really try to syndicate is you have to work on your business. And I feel that that's just something that we lose. And what someone's going to leave here is they're going to leave here with a goal, a direction, and a plan to work on the business. Now, that's not saying that some people that are listening to this going, well, I work on. Well, do you? Do you really work on your business? Because most managers say, I just want to sell cars and make money. Well, if you want to sell cars, you go back on the floor and sell cars. But if you're a manager, you are being entrusted by an owner. Now, the owners put their life into this dealership. They have put everything into their store, and they're trusting you to take it to the next level. That's by treating it as if it's your own, and that's leadership. And one of the things that we give them are a few of those tools. And I feel with Dealer Synergy and what VinSolutions Performance Management combined is going to give them, it's going to give them a roadmap. Number one, it's going to give them a game plan. It's going to show them some things that they don't know about it. And it's going to give them a path to take. When they get home, they can do these 3 simple things and they can escalate activity, appointments, and even coaching their store.
Man, I love it. Let's now kind of break down the layers of this. So I'm going to be conducting the opening keynote of the event. And what I'm planning to do, which I'm not going to give any of the details right here, is I want to give the audience like a current situation analysis as I see it. 26 and a half years into the industry, gotten this in the late 90s, before
Oh,
there were CRMs. My
oh
first
yeah.
CRM was a paper desk log, a highlighter, a black and red Sharpie, and I had the Stuckler, Tickler file systems. And then we were first using Act and Goldmine. I mean, I've been through this all when we were using Sugar CRM, open source CRM, all the way to what you guys are doing today. So for me, I want to kind of just give like almost like a current situation analysis. Here's where we're at in our industry, not just for CRM, but our industry wide, because the market, the habits and the behaviors of Americans, how they communicate, how they shop, how they purchase, all these things are important on how you set up and how you utilize your CRM to be effective and to make money at a dealership world. Okay, so other than my keynote, can you talk to them, Kevin, real quick? Your session, which I'm really excited about because you're a Jedi Knight yourself. You know what I mean? It takes one to know one. So I'm excited about that. So tell us about your session. What are you going to be focused on, and what are going to be the takeaways from your session?
So I'm going to focus on four key areas. And, we use those and we call them the KPIs, right? Key performance indicators. And more or less, it is a guideline and your recipe to find the problem in your store, identify the problem and who is the problem. And more importantly, once we find it, how do we change that culture? Okay. And the first thing we're going to discuss overall closing percentages, conversion rates. When you look at that, let's just pretend you got 15% of your appointments set. And you're going to ask yourself, is that good or bad? And okay, well, that's not good. Okay. Good. Okay, you start there. If you can find one thing in these conversions that does not fit your goals, let's just start right there. The next thing is you need to know where you're at. Okay, we're going to talk to you about performance data collection, which is the second thing. Where are we at? Like, can I even communicate with the customer? I think that's
Yes.
huge. People sit there and they look at their performance on their messages and their emails and their text messages, and meanwhile, they only have 30% of them collected. Like, what if you had 70%?
Yes.
Imagine the activity you can get. So, do you even know? And most managers don't know where they're at. The third thing we're going to talk about is B-backs. Okay, now when I talk about B-backs, we sit there and say all the time, like, do you have a plan to get the customer back into the showroom? And they say, oh yeah, my salesperson. Okay, like, let me ask you a question. Would you bet your monthly salary that salesperson going to call every customer that came in that didn't buy and make sure they come back again? And every manager goes, no. And I'm like, okay, well then what are you doing? I'm like, well, that's not my job. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Are you the manager or you want to sell just cars? You want to sell cars? So we really go into a really deep process and how do you find ways and activities to bring customers back to the showroom? And so we're really going to touch base on all of those pieces. You're going to talk about overall conversions, appointment set, getting customers back to the showroom.
Man, I absolutely love this. Now, Mark, so we have the keynote, you got Kevin's session. Now we're going to go to an expert panel. We basically have created, I think, a very unique panel because we have Mr. Nelson Lyles. Nelson Lyles is the managing partner of the Withers Automotive Group. They were just on the cover of Dealer Magazine for July, August. I was just on stage a couple days ago with Nelson Lyles and Bradley as the actual opening keynote for Digital Dealer. So we have a managing owner of a dealer group on VinSolutions going to be on the panel. We've got Mr. Roy Davila, who's one of the top GMs, GSMs in the country. He's ranked in the top 10 when he was with the Lithia Group. He's just one of those turnaround kings that goes into stores and just makes something special out of an underperforming store. So we have a super high level GSM GM, Roy Davila there. And then we've got my girl, Jenna Blankenbiller. Jenna is the former internet director and executive from Bob Ruth Ford. This is a VIN client and a Dealer Synergy client where we took a single point Ford dealership in a population of only 2,500 in Dillsborough, Pennsylvania. They went from 75 units a month to 356 units a month out of a single point internet department, utilizing nine BDC reps. 6 of them overseas and 3 of them domestic. So this is important because we're going to have a woman on this panel that's running a 350 plus internet department through VinSolutions in multiple countries. So, and then we have Brian Armstrong, So who's another Jedi Knight in what he does. And then we're going to have, I'm not sure, Kevin, if it's going to be you or it's going to be another performance manager, but we're going to have this amazing panel of different levels of expertise, and we're going to moderate, because what I think is really important, it's great that I'm able to talk, you're able to talk, Cox is able to talk, but what dealers need and want is other dealers that are doing it, but not just on the frontline level. I mean, they want to hear what the directors are doing, what the GSMs are doing, what the dealer principals are doing, to be successful. So, Mark, can you tell us how important is this panel and in panels in general if they're stacked the right way?
Oh, it's amazing. And before I do, though, Kevin is being pretty humble. He's done this presentation that he'll be doing at the deal in a couple of different cities. And let me tell you, he's exceptional. I promise you, you're going to want to hire him when he's done. You can't have him. I hired him 11 years ago and he ain't leaving. But it's really good. It's really good content. Listen, with respect to Kevin and your keynote, which are both going to be amazing, I think the panel might be the thing I'm most excited about, because I think you're absolutely right. I think that dealers want to hear from other dealers. One of the, and maybe you'll agree, and if you don't, that's okay. But one of the challenges in our world, you as a consultant and us as a performance management team, sometimes the client has to realize it's actually possible to do what it is you're telling them to do. Like they don't believe you that you can respond in 10 minutes or whatever it is. Pick a thing. I can collect emails 95% of the time. They don't believe you that you can do that. So that part of the challenge is getting them to just believe, and so when those guys you mentioned, those high performing people from all around the country start telling what they do, well, guess what? They're not any smarter than the people that are coming to attend this workshop. They just know they can do it, and they do it, And so I'm really excited about the panel. We've used panels. Sometimes we weren't very good at it, we used to have a thing called VinWorks, but you are moderating panels all the time. I think that's going to make this better than normal. We've got unbelievable guests that are going to be on the panel. So yeah, man, I think it's I think people are, I'll bet you when we survey the dealers that will get the highest marks out of every session of the day.
Mark, I'm going to jump in and just tag on this one, because I would agree. What I'm excited about is not just putting dealer subject matter experts in real time there, but to be able to show, because these people we already talked to are totally okay to be able to go on the PowerPoint instead of outside of the PowerPoint, it's going to go live. So, for example, we're going to be able to log into Bob Ruth Ford potentially, or we're going to be able to log into Chrysler of Lawrenceburg. So the other attendees that might not be sure, if they've never seen this before, they're not going to just hear a theoretical something or a hypothesis or a training strategy, an idea from me or Kevin. They're going to be able to talk to Roy Davila or Jenna Blankabiller or any one of these amazing panelists, ask a question, get a concept, and be able to go in real time. That's what's going to make it real. Because, I hear this all the time. People say, oh, it's too easy to make excuses. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's like, oh, I'm a Chevy dealer. That's Toyota. Of course that works with Toyota. Oh, no. Oh, I'm in the Midwest. You're in Alabama. That's different over here. And so everybody, when things are not what they normally see or achieve, it's easy for the mind to come up with excuses and reasons and justifications. But it's much, much easier for your mind to accept reality when reality is right there on a big screen showing you how this looks. Kevin, would you agree with
Oh,
that?
yeah. I do. I feel like a lot of managers get paralyzed by routine. And you're so comfortable doing the same thing over and over, and we forget what it's like to be the customer. Okay, we
Mm.
really do. And it's just because it's normal for us. Is it embarrassing and hard for us to go talk to a customer and give them bad news? No, we give bad news all the time to people. And we forget on the other end, how that customer might feel. And more importantly, the times have changed. You mentioned that in the beginning. It's different selling cars now than it was 2, 3 years ago. And how are we going to prepare the people who are going to be at this workshop for that? It's
Well,
huge.
I 1000%. I'll bet you in the 16 years I've been at Cox, I have had a car dealer or a manager at a car dealership tell me You don't understand what it's like here in Buffalo, California, Texas. I mean, every region of the country believes that it's somehow really unique there, and it's not. I
Right.
mean, so yeah, that's a spot on deal there, right there.
The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is on your radio.
Have you gone through any of Cody Carter's training that we have on there, or Ali Retta yet, or those big dogs?
Not yet. Those everything's been so exciting with just like I started with the to brush up on showroom sales
Yeah.
again, because now we're back to like selling and not taking orders. I've been brushing up on that, but like I'm just afraid that if I click on that, I'm gonna get 100% sucked into that, and like it's so much information, but it's in a digestible form, and now I'm going back on myself because I did say it's like 2, 3, 4 minute videos in each like segment, which I could dive into it, but it's like I already know that Cody Carter thing's like that is probably gonna blow my mind.
Yeah, man.
The moment I watch it.
Listen, if you don't have access to Bradley On Demand, you're missing out on crucial information. The top automotive groups like Coons, Lithia, and Norm Reeves have all used Bradley On Demand to train their teams. And guess what? The world's #1 car salesman, Cody Carter, shares his exclusive strategies right here. You want his secrets? You gotta have Bradley On Demand. Stop waiting and start winning. Dominate your market. Click the link and get access now.
I joke around whenever I'm at 20 groups. I've spoken to over 500 and X amount of NAD and NCM 20 groups. And I say, I feel like I'm Bill Murray from Groundhog Day. Every day I hit the alarm and it's the same ish on repeat.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my next thing. I'm actually really proud of Cox Automotive because you guys are a mega company, and when you're that big and that powerful, you want to keep everything in order. And I'm excited that you guys are taking a play out of my playbook for this these roundtable rotations, little breakout sessions. So Mark, you've been at my IS20G for many years, and one of the biggest hits that we have is what we call these roundtable rotations. So what happens is that it's not a breakout session where there's a PowerPoint or there's an agenda. What we do is we're creating categories, and some of the categories that we're creating for this Vin Masterclass is AI for artificial intelligence. We're going to have internet sales, BDC. We're going to have something called Vin Hacks, which is very new. Our team with Cox Automotive love that. And doesn't mean literally like cyber hacking, but it means how can you hack, quote unquote, Vin to be able to streamline your day. For example, using, hashtags to be able to search and advanced search and things like that. That's what we mean. There's also going to be other sections. So the vision is this: if I am a dealer, client of VinSolutions, and I come to this one-day masterclass in Chicago, November 6th, not only am I going to get a great opening keynote from SVB, not only am I going to get a great training session from Kevin, not only am I going to have this amazing panel, but I'm going to be able to go to this grand ballroom, and there's going to be multiple tables with individual topics that are going to be relevant to that particular dealer. Because remember, every dealer we just said is different, different geography, different franchise, different vision, different budget, different situation. So not everybody's going to come and want to eat from the same menu of what's on the plate today. So we want to be able at this event create different tables that are going to be able to speak to the need and the necessity of the individuals there. So guys, do you want to elaborate on that? 'Cause I'm actually excited about this one because this is where we get to diversify and be able to provide a lot more extra value, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'll kind of jump in real quick on that. I mean, when most dealers get there, it's uncomfortable, right? You're sitting there and it's a bunch of room with other dealers. You're going to give your presentation and you're going to do your jam. When we do our jam and we have the panel, after that, you're going to see the customer and the dealer get more comfortable.
Yes.
They're going to get really relaxed. You're going to realize, okay, it's not just me. Okay, oh, wow, I learned that. Oh, I learned that. They're going to take all their notes down and they're going to, and what you're going to see at this breakout session, and I hope everybody that's listening that's going to be there is doing this, you take your problems to the table. And the only way you can fix it is if we know about it and just tell us what the problem is. I mean, it's not a secret. If you're struggling in an area, that's what you have to share with us. That's why we're experts in the field. I mean, we do it all day long with thousands of dealers across the country. Like Mark said, I mean, it's not any different in your area, but we've seen a thing or two because we know a thing or two. Or the other way around. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two, like
I know
from
what you
the
meant.
commercial. But that's what you're going to get. It's going to be fun at the end. I love that. That's the best part. Everything explodes at the end. It's fun.
Yeah, Mark, what about you? You've seen this live at the IS20Gs, how both the subject matter experts love it and the dealers love it because it's relevant to what their needs and wants are. What are your
Yeah, it's
thoughts?
really fun because you end up talking about real specific real world problems or concerns, strategies, and you get to it, like you say, it becomes less about philosophy and more about specifically do this, or I think you should specifically focus on that. So I agree, and I agree with Kevin that by having it at the end, hopefully everyone will be comfortable and look, we're having it in Chicago. For many reasons. Okay. One reason though is it's impossible to have a hard time getting to Chicago.
Right.
I mean, you can fly to Chicago nonstop. We have dealers already that I know are signed up that are bought airplane tickets, and they're coming in from other places around the country. So you don't have to live in Chicago to go to this thing. I mean, it's a
This is a national event for sure.
I can't imagine a better expense of resources than to drop $300 on an airplane ticket and maybe $150 on a hotel room. I think you'll get that much back in value.
Let me let the people know how much value is here. One of the reasons we are also doing this in Chicago, besides the central location, is because yours truly works with the Chicago region of Toyota manufacture. You know what I mean? So I'm very proud of this relationship. We're going into our second year working with Toyota at the regional level. So that's Wisconsin, Minnesota, Indiana, and Illinois. And coincidentally, or strategically, VinSolutions is the predominant CRM provider. So I believe over 80% of the entire Chicago region Toyota dealerships are VinSolutions clients. So Toyota OEM is very excited, for their dealers to attend. So there's about 112 Toyota dealers. And so we're looking at over 80 of them are VinSolutions clients in 4 different states. And I know for a fact that not only are they coming, but this is going to be officially coming through Toyota OEM. And Mark was talking about value. I get to speak a little bit differently because this is my show and I keep it 100 real with you guys. Look, the reality is that you're talking to super high level people. I'm extremely expensive for what I do and you're getting me for free. Mark didn't become the AVP of Performance Management for a gazillion-dollar company because he's super advanced. Same thing for Kevin. You get all of these tools and resources at no charge. So can you talk about that, one of you guys? That's a bold move. And I actually truly respect that because there's a lot of money that's being made, but I'm really proud and I respect that Coxs Automotive is reinvesting in their people because this is not a free thing, but it is free to your dealers. So talk to us about that. Why did you want to create this event for your dealers? And 2, how did you guys come up with it being a free event?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'll just be really transparent with you. We've begun talking about, trying to put on another national event that maybe we have in a bigger, venue like Vegas or something where we, can bring all of different Cox products together in one couple day event type of a thing. And we're not quite there yet. Okay. And we've talked about, do we charge for it? Because it's something like that, we may attach a fee to that because people that pay for things tend to show up. We guess what, we'll have people that'll register for this thing and they won't make it in on the 6th. But I'll tell you why it's free and what we get out of it is our business model is a monthly recurring revenue model. We make money the longer you're on with us, and newsflash, if we can help you get value out of the software we've sold you, you're probably not going to want to leave us. And so if we can bring you to Chicago on November 6th and you leave the event having learned something about how you can get more value out of that VinSolutions software, my guess is you're going to pay your bill in December and then January and February. That's what's in it for us. And nothing. And Kevin's been with me 11 years. Nothing is more exciting to us than when dealers start to have the light bulb go off and they start getting results using our software. And when I feel like I'm the one that's told them how to do something and it's made a difference, it's just gratifying. I mean, it's
Mhm.
we don't get to sell cars anymore. It used to be, we sold the car, we got paid, and we high five. This is how we get enjoyment today, is helping people get value out of the software.
Kevin, you want to jump in? I want to
Yeah.
respond, but jump in first.
Yeah, sure. No problem. I think Mark's being a little modest there too. I mean, I remember when he got a panel of people together and he came up with this workshop idea, and his goal was, we have to give our people something. We can't touch every single person. We have to give them something. And when he came up with the workshop idea back in late 2015, early 2016, we traveled the country and we had great feedback from that. We learned a lot from that. And it's part of the reason why we're collaborating with you, Sean, is we're only better in our industry when we're working together. I mean, we could fight. Everyone could fight together all day long. I mean, we fight with ourselves at the dealership sometimes, and sometimes we're our own worst enemy. This is the reset button. And by bringing professionals from all over the country to Chicago and put on a performance of how do you use your tool? How do you go back to your store and change your culture? I mean, that is like Mark said, that's our gratification. When we could show somebody something and you see it, you'll see it in the room. I know you've done you've done over 500 of them, Sean. You start talking, all of a sudden you see people just all of a sudden they start raising their hand and they get really engaged with it. I mean, that's the light right there. And that's why we do that. And, Mark's been very instrumental in making these workshops happen around the country. I mean, we've been from California to Boston. So, absolutely joyful. Love this. Love doing it.
Let me jump in from my perspective because I don't have the same situation that you guys in, because you guys are Coxs Automotive. For me, as a trainer, as a consultant, and as an entrepreneur, I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, this is brilliant. Because when you have a company that's so large like Coxs Automotive, I mean, combined with all your entities, you've got tens of thousands of rooftops, I mean, between franchise and independent. I mean, there's only so many people out there. So you could spend money in conquest or business development, or you can invest your money in owner retention and making your current clients better. Because here's the reality for my audience listening to dealers. I'm a dealer advocate. The reality is some of us make bad decisions on bad information. We cancel this service or that service because we think the service sucks or the technology sucks, but it doesn't. It's mostly people, processes, accountability more than the vendor, any vendor. And I'm not giving Coxs a pass. I'm just saying out of any vendor. So it makes sense to have a company that acknowledges, hey, man, we've got a great service, but we don't need to keep building new stuff. So sometimes we just need to make sure that our people are using the stuff that they have right now the right way to a higher level. So I love that strategy, and it makes sense to me. There's nothing wrong about that. And I think that dealers should respect and appreciate that they have a vendor company that wants to pour into them to maximize, their success. The other thing is something like this, I think, is also good on a human level. And we don't really talk about this that much, but let's just be honest that, like, just from kids that are stuck with their phones all day looking down, everybody's looking down, looking down, looking down. Everything's done through text or chat or social or AI or what have you. For the love of God, we're in the people business. CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. It is absurd to me that we don't ever unplug and build and perpetuate relationships. So I commend Coxs Automotive and VinSolutions in personifying what the actual letters mean in customer relationship management. Because if you think about it, that's exactly what Coxs and Vin is doing. They're doing customer relationship management. They are the first freaking vendor, first CRM company that is putting the actual CRM into CRM to their own customers. You guys like that, right? It's true, though.
I do like that. Was beautiful. I like that.
I love it.
Customer relationship management. You are bringing into these people's orbits people that they might normally never see. I got a dealer from Pennsylvania. You're bringing California dealers there. You might have a Toyota dealership there, but you're bringing a Ford dealership there. You've got consultants, trainers, GSMs, dealers. You're putting them all in one place. You're feeding us. You're entertaining us, you're educating us, and then you get to sit back and watch the magic happen. Watch people become people. People communicate with each other. They share, they collaborate, synergy. I don't rock this for just the decoration.
He shows
This
his dealer
means
synergy
something.
tattoo.
Synergy is defined as two or more agents that come together are greater than their individual effect. You put a company like Coxs and Vin with dealer synergy with all of your amazing clients, information overload, baby, in a good way. I know you wrote that down. You're like, I got to use this later.
That was good. Very well said, Sean.
Listen, brother,
Absolutely.
you brought me in for a reason. Here I am. This is me. So let's get into.
Oh,
We're gonna do. I want to pivot because this isn't a timeshare pitch. You know, what I mean, I'm really passionate about this. But let's get into CRM. But I want to do this like 8 Mile in a cipher, like rah rah. All right. So I'm gonna just anybody can tag in. Okay. How important is CRM in general? And tell us why. I know this is a loaded question because you're a CRM company, but I want to really let's play. Okay. Why is CRM so important, Kevin? You go first.
Yeah, so CRM is your compass. If you want to get to a direction, you want to sell more cars, you need to know where you're at. You need to monitor it. You have to keep track of it. You go to Home Depot and they have all the little magnetic scanners to make sure you're not stealing anything. They're keeping track of all their inventory. They know where every single thing is. And you ask for something, they pull it up on their phone, they go, it's right over here. And if you can't do that for your store, your business, you don't know where you're at, where you're going, where the problems are, you're not tracking it, well, how can you thrive?
Yes. Yes. Mark, why is
I
CRM so
mean,
important?
that's not fair. I shouldn't have followed. It's a little. I thought I was the boss, but that was really, really well said. And I don't know that I can do it any better. Except I will say this: I think that CRM is more important today than it's ever been.
Yes.
The business is in the process of changing. The way people buy cars is going to be different 2 years from now than it is now. It's already different than it was 2 years ago. And dealers are going to have to adapt to what the customer is going to demand, and it's all the CRM is the engine behind the whole thing. And now is the time to get the CRM. We've got to collect data. I mean, it always needed to collect data. I mean, I can remember 25 years ago in the car business, trying to talk about get our service advisors to collect email addresses. We didn't know what the heck we were going to do with them when we collected them, but we knew it was probably important. Well, now it's really important. There are tools that automatically communicate with customers when they hit certain milestones, whether it be equity or service needs or anything. We can't do any of that if we don't collect the data. And so look, I think it's the whole thing. I think it's the whole thing.
Guys, you guys are familiar, of course, with Dr. Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, right? Let me go on a little tangent here because this is very, very near and dear to my heart and my wife's heart. So it's not the 7 habits of highly effective. I mean, it's not the 7 habits of highly rich people. There are 7 habits of highly wealthy people. It's effectiveness, because effectiveness basically is being able to replicate something so you could have the same consistent result. And that's what dealerships need to do. And if you think about this, the CRM is the most important tool. I know we argue DMS, CRM, but I think if people are the most important asset in an organization, they're people. If people is the most important thing, and we're not just saying that because it's a soundbite, if we believe that, the CRM is the one tool, if it is set up correctly with its processes and its automation, et cetera, to ensure that each and every single individual employee in the dealership, from the variable ops to the fixed ops to the office to the everybody, is effective. Because think about it, if you have garbage processes that are not mapped out the right way, when everybody comes into work and they log into their VinSolutions, how the hell are they going to sell more cars more often, more profitably? But if it's set up the right way, it's managed the right way, it's trained and understood and utilized the right way, every single person in the organization, every single one, could be truly effective. And I have a dream. Can you imagine if everybody in the dealership individually was just more effective? On a macro level, what would that do for the organization? So I think that CRM has a very, very special place. And to Mark, your point, now more than ever, and here's why. We haven't talked about this whole episode yet. The world has changed. And these dealers right now are suffering. I know, I'm on the front lines as a consultant. They're calling in and they're hurt. And here's why they're hurt. Because the manufacturers are producing more vehicles, because they're putting rebates and incentives on them, because dealers are competing, here's the conundrum that we're in. That's the reality. The conundrum is this: there's less people in the dealerships because they didn't need to flood the floor. They didn't need to have bell to bells, because if you had inventory, you could sell it at list or over list. Those days are over. So not only is there a vacuum on the floor, but the people that are left, they haven't been training. Why train? Why try to teach somebody how to fish when the fish are jumping in the boat and they're freaking fat? Now the fish are skinny, they're desperate, they're lonely, they're sad, and so are these dealers. So again, CRM utilized the right way can counterbalance a ton of things, man, from HR deficiency to human deficiency to lack of engagements, yada, yada, yada. Do you guys agree with what I'm saying here?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kevin,
I mean,
see you
we
smiling.
have,
Talk to me. Take
yeah,
it
no,
church.
The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is on your radio.
This episode is brought to you by Podium. Here's a question. How much would your business change if you had one more employee who worked 24/7 to turn every lead, including the ones that come in after hours, into a test drive, sale, and more money for your dealership? Meet Jerry, Podium's new AI BDC. Jerry is a lead conversion powerhouse designed to respond instantly to every incoming lead, to answer questions accurately, keep leads warm, and schedule test drives, all without direct human supervision. And the best part, with a seamless handoff to staff on the sales floor, customers will never know they were interacting with an AI to begin with. See how Podium's AI BDC can help you sell more cars by visiting podium.com/MCS. That's podium.com/MCS, or click the link in the show notes below.
the CRM is powerful. I always look at the DMS and CRM and I try to break it down very simple. The DMS is your address book or your contacts on your mobile app. Well, what brings that contact list to life? Okay, that's the apps, the applications, the Facebook, the Instagram. I mean, we're on Facebook Live right now. We're bringing a contact list to life, and that's your CRM. Your CRM brings your data to life, and that's how you communicate with people. And just like what you were saying, our time has changed so much, and bandwidth of our people is becoming very, very bleak. One of the things that we can do is utilize the process for that. If you can't do the work, if you can't do it, well, then make it automated. And you can make it automated and make it look like you typed it. I mean, you mean to tell me that every single email that you get, I probably got 4,000 emails right now that have nothing to do with me, but it has all advertising garbage. You mean to tell me that someone sat there and typed every single one of those messages out? No. But we can do that in a way that most people we can't. We can make that active. We can send text messages. We can templates, automated emails, campaigns based on your service appointments, based on the term lease expiring, when you're a high interest rate. I mean, there's so many variables that dealers aren't even aware of that your CRM can do. It's an underperforming engine. It's like a Hellcat with two keys. You got the regular one, you got the red one. Well, I want the red key because the red key means I can unleash all my potential. And most dealers don't even get past the first 20%.
Man, spot on. I got a question for you though, and I'm going to ask this to Mark. Mark, do you believe that time is money and that time is truly sacred, not just for car people, just for human beings? True or false? Do you think that time is very?
Yeah, I mean, of course, you could slice and dice that a million different ways. I will tell you that, and I hope you'll agree with this, our most successful dealers are dealers that leadership drives activity in the CRM. And let me tell you, when we walk in to train a store, and the dealer says, okay, over there in the corner is Sean and Kevin. They're the new guys. Go work with them. What? Who I need to be working with is the managers that are holding people accountable, that are holding true to whatever the culture is in that dealership. Who's holding people accountable to that? Because if all we do is count on our salespeople to embrace the CRM, that's just not the best way to get value out of this thing. It's got to be managers and leaders. And guess what? If the managers don't care and the general managers don't care, guess who also doesn't care? Guaranteed. Nobody.
So why is that? Again, we're all frontline retail people here, all three of us. Okay. And so we've been on that side, we're on this side now. But you're right, Mark. A lot of times the managers or the owners delegate the salespeople and the BDC reps and the frontline people, but they're not in it. Why do you think there's such a disconnect? Because it's rampant right now in our industry that there isn't sales management utilization, GSM utilization.
Mr. Dealer, I'm here to talk to you about your CRM VinSolutions today. Oh, go talk to Bill. He's my internet guy. Your internet guy?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
But do you think that it's just that I want an answer. I want to stand with you. Like, why is there such a disconnect from it where they don't get it? Because I get it. For me, in my company, Dealer Synergy, there's no VinSolutions for us, unfortunately. Or else I would subscribe. I use Zoho CRM, and my whole company are Zoho ninjas. Like we eat, sleep, breathe Zoho CRM because it's the lifeblood. But I can't imagine as an owner of a multi-million-dollar company that I am not embracing CRM. So, Kevin, why do you think managers and executive managers are not in the conversation, in the loop, in the utilization of the CRM? Why is that?
Well, just kudos to you. You created the culture where that's not acceptable. Like you have to live, eat, breathe in my CRM because that's how I manage my business. So kudos to you. And I say this jokingly, so anyone that's listening to this, don't get offended or anything. But I joke around and say that our family tree of our automotive hierarchy is a straight line. Okay, I was taught by my manager, who was taught by his manager, who was a salesperson that was taught by his manager, and we just have a straight line of a family tree of our management style. And I feel that that's where a lot of the failure comes from. It's not how you were trained; it's the culture that you were trained in. Your training culture is different. You are going to do this, and if you don't like it, then you're answering to me. But when it comes to you, Sean, you probably don't. Forget about it. And how many times have we seen that in our industry? No, how about this, Sean? You never heard this before, and everyone listening, you've never heard this before. I am not giving payments until I have a complete worksheet and the CRM is filled out completely. And then you have a busy Saturday, and what does every manager say? No, forget about it. Just give me the deal. We got to work the deal. Let's hurry up. By doing that, you have just opened yourself up to whatever you say or implement does not, and you're accepting failure. And that's just something that I've learned that way. And I've had the benefit and the beauty of working with amazing leaders in my field. Joe, I'll give a shout out to Joe, Mike. There are people that have progressively helped culture change a showroom. And I've seen it live. I've seen you do it before with other dealers, by putting in unbreakable management things. And that's one thing performance management is we have to hold the manager accountable. You hold your team accountable. And that's the big failure in today's world with management. So we just weren't trained that way. We weren't shown that way. And that's not our culture.
You know what's crazy to me, and you guys are Vin, so you understand what I'm about to say, is that if dealer principals and GMs really understood the CRM and how it could be utilized so they could understand better their sales management team. Let me explain. A lot of people know the basics. Hey, if you get your BDC reps or your salespeople to use VinSolutions or whatever CRM, you could track their activities, their performance, make adjustments, and yada yada yada. Well, think about that with our clients at Dealer Synergy that follow our process the right way, right? Hence the right way. Sales management, for example, unsold showroom traffic in the processes, right? We're creating a tandem protocol. So let's just say Mark comes in on a 2025 Toyota Camry. I'm the salesperson, Kevin is the desk person. Okay, if I'm following up, I will have actual activities that are going to fire to me and my tasks as the salesperson. But at Dealer Synergy, I'm tandem coding stuff for the sales managers. So if you think about this, if Vin is set up the right way or a right way, a sales manager could log in, and when they go to their follow-ups, those tasks are not for the public or for the individual prospect, but for their manager. So for example, again, if I'm the salesperson, Kevin, you're my manager, when you log into Vin, all your follow-ups are going to be for your team. Hey, Sean just had an up, 30 minutes ago that didn't push the bar. Make sure that Sean did this, this, and this. So my God, you could use the CRM to manage sales managers, desk managers floor managers, etc. So if I'm the executive,
Yeah.
almost there are layers to this.
Well,
You follow me?
Sean, you're pulling. Okay, I'm going to just say one thing to your last question, because you're just hitting every damn thing right now. You're hitting it. That's something that is a failure I see. And you tell me if you feel it too. The hierarchy of leadership in a dealership, when you're saying that you go to your manager and you go to this, we lost that in 2021 and 2020. We
Yes.
lost a hierarchy of, I had a dealer group, phenomenal dealer group, and they just exploded with growth after they put in a hierarchy piece. Everyone was just trying to sell cars. You had the GM trying to sell cars, and the GSM selling cars, and the sales managers, and finance was on the floor. Go back to your hierarchy. Who do you report to? And then your GSM, then you're responsible for your sales managers. And the GM, you're just responsible for the GSM. And the GSM will syndicate that to your sales manager. You're saying it right there. We forgot the hierarchy of how to be a business again.
Listen.
Yeah, you asked why dealers allow life to get in the way, and it can't get in the way. Do you think Bill Belichick just lets whatever happen to his football team, or did he follow a routine every single week? I'd say he did that, and then he won 6 Super Bowls. There's a reason why sports are a common analogy with our business, is because they're very relatable, and a process is only a process if I execute that thing. I can have the greatest process in the world. If I don't do it, then it's nothing.
Guys, you are speaking facts. I don't want to let you go yet. I have a couple more minutes of questions and statements. I want to bring up something that you guys might find interesting, and my audience might think a little crazy, but this is true. I have a rule at Dealer Synergy, especially when I'm training CRM, that there's cameras on. We are in 2024 going into 2025, and dealers tell me, oh, I don't have a camera. I'm like, stop. And here's why, guys. How the hell are you going to do Kevin, you're a trainer, as I am, right? So if we're doing a presentation or we're teaching somebody VinSolutions and there's no cameras on, you know what's happening on the other side and we can't see it? People are on their phones. They're not paying attention. They're trying to multitask, or they have no freaking microphone. They got no headsets. People are coming in every 30 seconds. So my rule at Dealer Synergy, if you work with me, I don't just take a check. I have rules. First and foremost, everybody, including the owner, the executive manager, needs to have the cameras on. If there's no cameras on, we don't do the training, and that's on you. Because if we cannot see that you guys are engaged, my credibility, my brand's on the line, because, I went through Dealer Synergy training. No, you didn't. You logged on to the damn Zoom, but you weren't paying attention. You were distracted. But I don't know why people don't start at those basics, because they get mad at VinSolutions and any other CRM. We don't know the tool. But have you really trained, though? Because I go through this on a daily basis as, working just with your dealer clients with VinSolutions alone, is that I go in and I'm like, did you guys do this training? Yeah, we did the training. No, you didn't. You logged on the Zoom and you probably weren't even there the whole time. So that's where we got to start. That's where we're at. And that's just, if we're being real with each other, forget about the quantum mechanics and the back to the future stuff for a second. We need to get people to just pay attention, log in, and be held accountable. Would you guys agree with that?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Kevin,
100%.
I'm speaking to your soul right now, right? I'm speaking to your soul.
Dude, I gotta do water soon, man. You're preaching, baby. Keep it going.
So I'm going to go to Mark, because Mark, can you give us, and then Kevin too, I want you to give us 2 things as we start to close out this episode, right? Is what are the common challenges or deficiencies that you see dealers doing as it relates to CRM? And this is a layup, because we're going to reverse engineer this. We're not going to go into detail on how to solve them on this podcast, but I want to acknowledge them almost like a smoke detector. The fire department's going to be November 6th in Chicago at this one-day masterclass. So can you give us the smoke alarm? What's going on? What do people need to pay attention to?
It starts by having a culture of accountability, and I've got to create that, and that has nothing. I don't care if you're on Vin or a competitor. The CRM is about a culture of accountability, and without that, I got nothing. And that's the price of admission, if you ask me. Now you're going to teach me a process to handle internet leads, or whatever. Kevin's going to talk to me about BBACs, and all those things matter. But if nobody holds anybody accountable, then it just doesn't matter. I mean, and I've got to do everything in the CRM. Save a deal's in the CRM. I mean, everything is in the CRM. And if it's not, it's just got to be, I'll leave this analogy. If a used car manager comes to work in the morning and his front line is all jacked up, there's holes in the front line, the cars are dirty, what does he do? He fixes it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, before he gets a cup of coffee, somebody is cleaning up, straightening out that front line. And nobody had to tell him to do that. Nobody had to remind him to do that. That's what he does. That's who he is. You got to be that way in your CRM too. That would be my answer. The failure comes when I don't have an effective culture of accountability.
That is strong.
That is strong, man. I don't listen. I thought you wanted me to go first. I'm afraid to go next. Jeez. But I'll kind of jump on with Mark here. And you said it earlier, today's time. We have to prioritize the time. And anybody that's listening on there's something that you could do right now is just ask yourself, because I myself struggled with this time management. How am I going to manage all this stuff? We get pulled in 15 different directions at the end of the day. Like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. But you didn't do all the stuff that you need to do. Is dedicate time. Start with 40 minutes. I'm sure if you are a sales manager, if you're a BD manager, if you are a general sales manager, not one of your superiors is ever going to say no to, I'm going to take 40 minutes out and I'm going to see if I can find a way to drum up more business. Can you watch the desk and can you cover for me? No one's going to say no to that. Like, no, please stop. Don't work on our business, please. Says no manager ever, right? But the second thing is if you're a BDC manager listening, a sales manager, GSM, or even a GM, or even an owner, we have to ask ourselves a few things. I need to know what's going on in my store. And I have to start by asking why and then who. So where am I now? Like, where are you now? If you don't know where you're at now, like that is how many leads you have, what your appointment is, your show ratio, your be-back ratio, and your closing percentages, and how you perform with internet, phone up, and walk-ins. If you don't know that basic thing, well, how are you going to change anything? Number one. And once you find an area that you're struggling with, you can't be mad. You found the problem. I don't know anyone that found a problem and goes, oh man, I found the problem, man, that stinks. No, you found the problem. It's a great feeling. You struggle with your business, but you took time out of your day and you found a problem. You can't get mad if you don't have all your emails or opting everybody in, or you sent out 10,000 messages and only 2 people responded. You can't get mad at that because that's the problem. Now you need to know who the problem is and work with them, not at them. And here's the difference between with and at, team. When you're working at someone, that's, hey, we got to do a one-on-one real quick because your messages stink. Like, nobody loves that message. But if I shared with you, hey, I think I found something that can help you set more appointments. Meet me in my office in 5 minutes and I'm going to show you what I found. What do you think the person's going to feel like? Oh my God, I have a leader. A leader is someone that goes above their pay grade, above their job description, and constantly performs for the store. That's something people get behind. So those are the things that I would say right now, team, that if you're listening, take the time and set it aside. Know where your business is and what is wrong with it, and be happy you found the problem because that's there. Start with one thing and change that culture. And last but not least, coach. You have to coach to change your culture, or you're just going to continue to be the same.
Well, guys, I'm going to say this. There are so many different values of a CRM. First of all, there's 8 ways that a showroom salesperson could sell a car: walk-in, be-back, internet, phone, prior customers, orphan owners, service conversions, referrals, and a lost art of prospecting. All 8 ways could be maximized and utilized through the CRM. You've got showroom sales, you've got service, you've got parts, you've got finance, you got data mining, you got equity mining, you got acquisition, you got lease retention, you have so many different things. I don't know any other freaking tool in the entire dealership arsenal that is more of a Swiss Army knife or Inspector Gadget, go gadget, service, go gadget, acquisitions. So there's so many things that you could do with the CRM, and it's tied to time. This is the only thing that trillionaires or super wealthy people can't buy. You can't buy time back. There's only 86,400 seconds in a day. Once they're gone, they're gone. So for the love of God, how can you maximize every one of those 86,400 seconds in a day exponentially to each and every one of your employees. Mind blown. If I looked at CRM at that level, it would be my preeminent focus, which is my supreme absolute. So now, as we were discussing here, it has to do with first awareness, making sure that if I'm the dealer principal, GM, or corporate executive for the dealer group, that I understand and respect the importance of CRM. Second, in my opinion, is delegating somebody. Mark, do you remember 10 years ago, you and I talked about this? You called it a CRM ambassador, a CRM czar, or something like that. But that is the point. You just gave me a question analogy about a used car manager and holes in his line. Because there's a used car manager and because somebody is assigned to that. You know, there are people that have defaulted, not delegated CRM. They're the default CRM person because they're the internet person or what have you. But if a dealership acknowledges the significance and the power of CRM, why is it leaderless? Why is it, have random people that are taking up the mantle? If you respect something and the potential of something, there should be someone in charge of that to nurture it, to love it, to groom it, to evolve it, to enhance it. You guys agree with me?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but let me tell you, give that person some muscle.
Yes.
That somebody needs to. When I had the CRM champion, we could call them, and all those words you use, czar, they all work, But they've got to have some teeth. I mean, because if nobody cares about them, then I can do whatever I want. Yeah. Mark is going to tell me something's important. I really don't care about Mark. No, there has to be some teeth. It has to matter. It has to matter.
Yes. Well, guys, I'm super excited. Kevin, I want you to close out. Can you give everybody the details one more time about November 6th, please?
Absolutely. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be at the Hilton Chicago Oak Brook Resort and Conference Center up outside of Oak Brook, Illinois, just outside of Chicago, about 25 minutes. It's November 6th. We're going to start first thing in the morning, and we're going to run as far as we can until the wheels fall off on this one. We have great partnership. We have a panel of people. We have, at the end, we have an open performance management table setting for you to do breakouts in. This is the shop that you can't miss. If you want to take your store to the next level, and you want to bring more balance, and you want to bring acquisition, and you want to bring profit, and you want to bring change, and you've had enough, you start here.
Absolutely. Mark, anything you'd like to leave the awesome Millionaire Car Salesman audience with?
I don't think you can hear me. Kevin just dropped the mic.
Well, I love it, my friend. This is Sean B. Bradley. We're here with Kevin Schmitt and with Mark Vickery. We appreciate you.
Fast response times can help you beat the dealer down the street. Get a tool that can respond to your leads in 15 seconds or less and help you book test drives 24/7, nights and weekends, so you can sell more cars. Podium's AI BDC is a conversational AI employee who sells, schedules, and talks with customers day and night and sounds like your best sales rep. Transform potential interest into sales today with Podium. Visit podium.com/MCS to see what AI can do for your dealership. That's podium.com/MCS or click the link in the show notes.